Hey, this is Ralph, and in this video, probably a couple of videos, we're going to be working on our Module 4 participation activity. We're going to do that as a group. This is something we would definitely do together if we were having a face-to-face class, but since this class is online, you'll go based on this video. And this is going to be a little bit more involved now that we are in Module 4. We've done some stuff with obviously CSS and some HTML basics, so you should be starting to feel a little bit more comfortable with things. Our Module 4 participation is going to be mimicking key design elements of a small business website. And I'm picking the website Ruffwear to be an example. We could, and I'm not even going to open the directions here. I want you to work along with me, but basically what we're going to do is mimic some characteristics of a website. Now, I actually have OSU Cascades up here because I consider doing OSU Cascades because they've got a couple things going on that I like. Now, I'm going to keep the OSU Cascades website up for comparison, but then I'll just open up a new tab and I'm going to head over to Ruffwear. So here's Ruffwear's website. Now they do have a video on the background. Let me just go ahead and pause that. There's a button right there to pause. And I don't want that, so I'll say no thanks. It's kind of annoying. There we go. Okay, so, and let me put OSU Cascades next to Ruffwear. Okay, so there's OSU Cascades. I want you to look at this one for a moment. We have a header across the top. We have a navigation right beneath the header. Nice little visual effect there. And then we have a hero graphic with a large text overlay. Okay, let's go to Ruffwear. Check this out. We do have a header at the top, but it's a promotion bar. That's fine within the header. Then we have a horizontal navigation. Pleasant enough. A few other hyperlinks over there and their branding. Don't forget logos near the top left corner. There's Ruffwear. OSU Cascades, logo up in the top left corner. Very standard stuff. And then on Ruffwear, we also have a hero graphic. Now they're using the video on desktop instead of a graphic, but I bet on mobile it's probably a still image. But notice they've got a hero image and they have a large text overlay, all in, always, and they have a call to action button, learn more. It's called a call to action. Go back to OSU Cascades, they've got a nice text overlay, big chunky text. Now I don't see an obvious call to action here, but if I were to scroll down, I do see some. Apply now, request info, visit. This is multiple calls to action. A little bit rare to have more than one, certainly rare to have more than two, but they've got 3 calls to action. Back over to Ruffwear. Call to action, learn more. And then below the hero graphic, we get into various products. On OSU Cascades, below the hero graphic, they give us a little bit more stats, but otherwise they're providing information on various services. School is a service-oriented business. Ruffwear is a product-oriented business. A lot of similar concepts, though, in the website. Over at OSU Cascades, we've got these large rectangles with images and text. Text is written briefly and nicely, and more big images with text overlays, more orange buttons. So they got the official colors and they got all this stuff. Rounded corners, you know how to do that with border radius. That's pretty neat little effect there. And then, of course, we have a footer at the bottom. Let's head back over to Ruffwear. Of course, we have these large rectangles. Again, I see some rounded corners. They're also doing a really nice box shadow effect to make it seem like these rectangles are kind of floating up. That looks pretty cool to me. More large images with hero graphics, content side by side. We saw this on OSU Cascades as well. And then ultimately we get down to a footer section. It's a really nicely organized footer area as well. I like that a lot. I know my webcam image is over here, but yeah, it looks good. So what I want to point out to you at this phase of the game is that 2 completely different kinds of websites, a school website and a product retailer website. Very different products, services, whatever, different selling thing, but a lot of similarities in how these websites are structured. And if we were to go look at 20 different websites right now, you would start to notice these elements in many of those websites. So keep that in mind as you are looking at websites and thinking about things to implement on yours. Now, Our focus is not going to be on OSU Cascades. It's going to be on the Ruffwear site. And you might be thinking, oh my God, we're going to make this whole website? That's a lot of work. It is a lot of work, but we are not going to do everything on here. The goal of this activity is to mimic a few key parts, but we're going to do enough that I feel confident that if you were really continuing on with this website for a few more weeks, you would be able to reproduce it. There are very few things on this website that we will not cover in CIS 195. And once you see how to do one thing, you would be able to apply that to other elements if you were going to expand this out and make it a larger project. But there's a lot on here we can do. And I want to get started. So I'm already signed into VS Code, and I'm already in my 195 folder. You can see I'm starting to build up quite a few things over here. I've got a Module 2 participation page already done. I've got my Module 3 participation page already done. This is going to be Module 4 participation, and I'm going to start from scratch. I'm going to open up a new file, and this doesn't show up automatically in here right now. I think I still have to do my initial save as. Fine. So I'm going to go ahead and do File, Save As. For some reason, I don't see Save As an option. Try that again. There it is, Save As. And let's see, I'm in my Hobby Chest folder. That's not where I want to be. I'm going to go upward into my 195 folder, and I'm going to give this the name Module 04, M04 underscore Ruffwear.html. There we go. Now I'm also going to use a style sheet on this one, a separate style sheet. So I'm going to File, Save As. Now this one's going to go into my Styles folder, which is within my 195 folder. And I'm going to go ahead and call this, just to keep it organized, Module underscore 04. So I can't remember what I did before. What did I do before? Hold on, let me cancel this. I'm going to get a similar naming syntax. M04 underscore Ruffwear. Gotcha. Okay, let's try that again. File, Save As. Go to my Styles folder within 195. M04 underscore Ruffwear.css. Perfect. Okay, and what I will do in my CSS file right now is I'm going to do a reset rule. Up at the top, my reset rule is going to be set of curly braces, margin 0, padding 0, box sizing border box. That's the reset rule for my CSS file. I'm going to go to my HTML, set up a little bit of foundational stuff. Let me turn off word wrapping. What is that, Alt-Z? Yeah, turn off word wrapping for a moment. This is going to be my Module 4. I keep doing 5 there. Participation, pipe symbol, examples from Ruffwear.com. Perfect. Okay, so we've got that. Now I am using an external CSS, so I need to refer to my external CSS. Let me close this Explorer bar so we get a little bit more room to look. And this is going to be where I put in my reference to my external CSS link here. So I will use a link tag, relation equals, and hold on, we got office hours going on, so I will say yes to this student. I will be here. And I know I'm going to have an interruption probably pretty soon. I've got an appointment with one of your classmates to chat me up on Teams. But that's okay. We'll do a couple videos. Relation equals style sheet. Hyper reference equals styles slash, and then I want M4 Ruffwear. Okay, I think that's pretty good, and that's in the head section, and there's nothing in the body. Now, since I'm looking at my HTML file in VS Code, I can go down and I can click the Go Live button in the lower right corner to launch my page. Now, before I do too much work, I'm going to head over to my CSS file, body, background color pink, to make sure I get the pink background. I do. That lets me know that my external CSS file is properly connected to my web page. Excellent. So now I can do a lot of the work there. I'll leave that pink for a moment, but we'll end up changing that soon enough. Let's go look at Ruffwear. Now, when you're first looking at a website that you want to mimic, we want to look at the big chunks. So for instance, I see a header bar. The header is made up of this orange promo bar and this white navigation bar. And I see that all in the header. And the reason I'm classifying it as a header, because I'm willing to bet, even if I went to another page, I would see that same thing. Headers are generally repeated at the top of every or most every web page in the website. And that looks like what's happening here. If I went to stories, again, I see that same header up there. Now the content on the page, the main page, it looks like it changes. That's a nice image there. I like that one. But notice the header is pretty much the same. Perfect. That's what a header should be. So, all right, so I go to the body of my page in the HTML, and I will do this. I'm going to do a div. Do I want to do a container? I am going to do a container. Div ID equals container. I don't know if I'm going to need this yet, but I often like to wrap the entire page content within a container div. This will allow some things. Let's see, can I show it if I maximize this? I can show it to you here. So now that Ruffwear is maximized, I want you to make a mental note of this. Actually, this wouldn't require a container. But notice how the Ruffwear logo, and am I zoomed in 100%? I am not. Let me go to 100%. It doesn't stand out as much. Let me zoom out. Notice how the Ruffwear logo is kind of lined up here on the left, but it's not all the way to the far left. And the shopping cart icons and stuff are lined up to the right, but they're not all the way to the far right. This gives me an indication that a container is being used. Now, it may not be a big, like master container like I've structured so far, but I can tell that within these various blocks, there's another container. Because we can see like this hero image stretches all the way across, but the content does not stretch all the way across. So it's something I want us to keep in mind. Now, having the container there can help in some of these situations, but it's certainly not going to hurt to have the container there, even if I ultimately don't need it. So I wanted to keep that in mind. Let me zoom back into 100%. And let me Windows right arrow, put this back over there. And I know I'm not on the home page right now. That's okay. So I can see that there's this header up at the top. So within my container, I'm going to have a header. And I can see that my header is split up into two key sections, or parts. I'm not going to use the word section because there is a section element. But I will say there's a div class equals promo bar for, and I'll just write promo bar. It's free shipping on all orders. In fact, I could put those words in there. I'm going to do that because then it's really clear what it is. Free shipping on all orders, $74.95 and over, period. That's it. That's all I'll put on there. And then also within the header, there is going to be, I'm going to call it the nav bar. Even though we clearly have a logo, logos in businesses should always be a hyperlink, and they always hyperlink to the home page. So Ruffwear is an image, and if I were to click on it, it would take me to Ruffwear's home page. Perfect. OSU Cascades has a logo, which is an image. And if I click it, it takes me to OSU Cascades homepage. CUCC is the same way. All businesses do that same thing, and if they don't, they're wrong. So I think it's okay that we consider, okay, the logo is in there. It's not part of the main navigation, but it's definitely part of the navigation. And for this one, I'll just say there is a, I'll say there's a logo in there, and it looks like there's some navigation as well. Their navigation is mostly off to the right. Now they give me this little menu because I'm narrow, but if this was full screen, we'd see the navigation is across the top. So that's basically the navigation we want to look at. So we have our primary navigation, and then we also have some secondary navigation over there. Fair enough. I'm going to put that back. So we have our primary navigation, and it looks like we also have our secondary navigation. So I'm just putting these little notes to myself. I'm not worried about the details about, oh, do we find us a logo? We will, but that's later on. Don't worry about it right now. We're just getting the big chunks of the web page. And if I go back to my web page, of course, there's nothing worth looking at. We just see that text up there, but we are getting the big chunks. Okay. Would it help if we could see them? It would. Before we style them, let's go back to this and let's look at, I'm going to go to, close that. What do I want? I want to go to the, now how do I get to their about page using this menu? It looks like the menu is different for these kinds of users. It's actually a pretty cool navigation menu, but I digress. What if I do, what is it, Alt-right arrow? No. Let me expand. I'm going to just go to about. Okay, so now I'm on the about page, which I think is just the home page. I think because I closed it. Stories. Yeah, I'll go there. I just wanted to see a still photo for a minute. So after the header, this is where we get the hero section. And then we're going to get a products section, let's say. Hero and products. Okay. Let's put this back over to the right. So after the header, there's going to be our section, class equals hero, hero section. And after that, we've got another section. I'm going to ignore this little drop-down menu here. Section, class equals products, product section. And what else might we want to do on here? Oh, it's a big section here. Oh, I'm going to keep scrolling. And then ultimately we might get down to the footer. Perfect. Now we may add a few more things. Footer area. But I'm just focusing on the key parts first, okay? So the key big chunks of this web page. I've got the header, the hero section, the product section, and the footer section, using the appropriate elements and then giving classes. So for instance, I don't want to have two sections named section unless I can differentiate them, and I'm using class to differentiate them. Okay? Feeling pretty good about this. Let's start to do a little styling. I see this gold color, then we have a white color, and then we have a background image for hero. Perfect. Let's go to our page. And I'm going to go over to my styles. Header, and I already forgot what I called it. It's promo bar. So I'm going to do header space dot promo bar. Background color, gold. Perfectly fine to do something like that. I'm going to give it a min height of 80 pixels. That's too big. I'm going to do a min height of 40 pixels. There we go. Now we also have within the header space, we have the nav. The nav has a background color that's like white. So I'll do hashtag FFF, and I'm going to do a min height of 90 pixels here. Now, if you wanted to, you could go to the existing website and you could measure these. I have a measuring utility on my computer, and I think it's part of Power Toys. I don't remember how to start it up. Let's see, if I go here, Power Toys. Oh wait, no, I've got a keyboard shortcut for it. Yes, I do have a keyboard shortcut for it. Yeah, there is a measure tool, but I forgot. I set up my Stream Deck to do this. Let's try this out. I haven't used it in a while. So I should be able to click my measure tool. Okay, now I've got a measure tool, and I could just do this tool. And look at this. I just hover over this yellow bar, and I can see that it's 56 pixels tall. And if I hover over this white bar, I see it's 77 pixels tall. 56, 77. I'm going to turn off my measure tool. So the gold bar is 56. The white bar, I think what we said, 77. And there we go. That's going to give me similar heights for those. Now I'm using min height so that way they can expand if necessary, but as long as I'm careful about what I put in there, they will be at 77 pixels. Now that measure tool that I just used, that is a feature on Windows Power Toys, and I like it. And I made a shortcut button for myself. I don't know if I can easily show this to you because my cord won't be long enough. I don't know if you can see that. That's my little Stream Deck, where I can kind of code in buttons to do certain things. And I coded in one of them to start my measure tool. But yeah, I coded it to do a bunch of things. Like I can do crosshairs, and that'll display those crosshairs. I actually kind of forgot that I did this because I was on a different screen, but I have to remember those are there. So I can do crosshairs. Yeah, and I've got a few other tools that are pretty cool too. Okay. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. Now my hero section. And I believe I called that was a section. This time I'm going to write it this way, section.hero. Section.hero. And I will say that's going to have a min height of 400 pixels. And I'll give it a different background color so we can see it. Sky blue. Perfect. I can see that hero section. And then you know what? I'm going to copy this, because then I also have my products section, and I'll do a min height of 800 pixels, and I'll give it a different color for now. I'll go to pink. I know I was using pink before, but that's fine. And then I will also, I have a footer. So I'm going to make my footer area, I'll give that a min height of 300 pixels, and I'll do a background color that definitely is different for now. Hashtag 444333 apparently. And that'll be a dark gray. And now I can see that footer area down there. Just so you know, I'll do a color, text color, EEE, so we can see that text. So I've got my footer, I've got my product section, I've got my hero section, I've got my nav, and I got that promo bar up at the top. There we go. That is how we can kind of structure. Let's go to my HTML first and make sure we're clear on what I got here. There it is. You can see it all right in there. So you can pause the recorder as necessary. I've got the key big chunks of this web page, or at least most of the big chunks. There's a few things that I don't have on there, but that's all right. Get those big chunks. In the CSS. Can't quite, I'll show you this top part first. There it is. Yeah, just obviously some of these numbers are a little bit precise. Some of them are just random guesses. That's perfectly fine. Notice my use of min height instead of height though. And I just used different colors so I could see the parts. That's it. Now that I've got this, by the way, I really don't need a pink background color on the body. So we could change that or just delete it. We'll do something else in there. That's a good place for fonts, by the way. Font, family, Verdana. There we go. All the fonts are different. So there's most of my CSS. And if I scroll down here, you can see the bottom part of my CSS. Yeah. Make the big blocks and just do a little bit of styling so that you can easily tell them apart from each other on your page. Once you feel pretty good about this, you can start going to the individual parts and putting in the detail you want. Since working with the hero image is probably the most fun, or at least something a little different, give us an opportunity to do an image, let's do an image. So I'm going to jump out to pexels.com, and Ruffwear is for people to take their dogs on big walks and hikes and treks and stuff like that. So I'm going to type in hiking dog and see if I get a good photo that I can use. I would like one with a person. Now the other thing I want to do is I want to get a photo with a person and a dog, and I would like the photo to be landscape orientation, meaning I want it to be a wide shot, not a tall shot. Now, I believe on these sites we can often filter. How do I do that? There's filters, orientations. I want horizontal, which is called landscape. And if I just do a quick scroll, see, I like this photo right here. This woman and her dog. This is a good picture. I'm going to make actually, no, I'm going to download it. I'm going to download this picture. Oh, you know what? It probably gave me the really big version. I may not need that. Let's go back. Okay. If I hover over this, if I just click on this image first and don't hit the download, it'll take me to a place where I can choose the choices. I don't really need that really big one. I'm going to get the large version. So I'll click large and then I will download that one. Okay, so I've got that downloaded. Make a mental note of that. Close that. Now, is there another photo or two on here that I might want to consider using? Remember, I want landscape. So it looks like my filters are not working here. Let's go back to horizontal. I like this one too, just the dog. I wish there was more contrast in color with the dog and the surroundings though. Cool photo. I want a different dog though. I like this one too. Okay. So if I click on this one, I will get the large size. Download that. And maybe one more. Now, the other thing that I should be considering too is the subject. So in this photo here of the woman and the dog, I like this one because the subject is towards the right side of the photo, and that's going to leave the left side for me to put some large text overlay. That's a problem with this photo here, the dog in the middle. Same thing with this one too, that I like. The dog is over towards the right side, freeing up the left side for the text, the big bold text. I like this photo a lot here. Dog is too small and too centrally located, I think. So I'm going to skip past that. Now I want to get one more. Ooh, this one I like as well. The subject is a little bit more centrally located than I would prefer, but I like the dark color of the image and it's got the mood that I want. So I'll click on this one and I'm going to download the large version, download selected size. All right, I'm going to go to my downloads folder. And of course, I need to go there. So I've got these three images. These are the ones I want to use. I'm going to quickly rename them. The first one, or the top one here, this will be my dog 3. And then this one is going to be dog 2. And this one, rename dog 1. Perfect. I've got these 3 photos. I'm going to select all 3 of those. I'm going to Control X to cut them. And then I'm going to go to my portable drive, my WebDev working folder, my 195 folder, images, and I will just paste right in here. So I've got my 3 dog images in the images folder, which is within my 195 folder. Perfect. And I will start off by using dog 3 to show you how that would work. So let me go ahead and, I guess I'll just minimize that. And I'm going to go back to our page, put that over to the right. I'm keeping an eye on my timer. One of your classmates is going to get in touch with me. I thought around 11. I thought that's what I saw. Yep, around 11. Okay, so keep in mind I might hear a ding or a call coming in. And let's get to it. So let's see, I'm going to go here to my hero. And close that. Background image :URL parentheses. Now I'm going to write it this way: /images/dog3.jpg. And that's going to put my dog picture right up there. But the image is so big compared to the space, you can only see the top left corner of that image. So I'm also going to do a background size cover. Cover will make sure that the image fits either by width or by height, whatever comes first. and it looks like it's fitting by width, as I would expect for a landscape orientation picture. But that's how easy it is to put a background image on there. Now sometimes I will do this, background repeat, no repeat. I like to do that sometimes just to make sure. Not an issue here, but I'll leave it on there. And sometimes I will do this, background position center. And this will center the image by width and height. Now, because I did background size cover, we were seeing the full width of the image, so there's no centering that we notice. It's already centered technically. However, it did just center it by height, which I think I kind of like a little bit better. I am going to make the minimum height of this to be a little bit larger, maybe 450 pixels, just to see a little bit more. Now, the way this is written though, if my web page is wider, the image gets wider, but my height doesn't, so I only see a little bit less of the image. But I'm okay with that. The centering vertically, I think the subject still looks good on here. But the positioning and sizing of one background photo doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be great for another background photo. So you just want to kind of keep an eye on that. And of course, it's easy for us to check other photos. I can just say, okay, well, how does this look with dog2.jpg? Looks pretty good to me. How does it look with dog1.jpg? Ooh, this one's a little bit rougher, right? So on this one, at this size and positioning, the top of the woman's hat and the dog's ears are getting cut off. I don't know if I like that. What if I did background position, center bottom? Oops, I went the wrong way. Center top. Okay, that one looks better for this image, but if I go back to dog 2, that's still acceptable, I think. But if I go back to dog 1, oops, I'm sorry, dog 3, I don't know, maybe that's fine. I'm going to leave it like this, but I do want to clarify or make sure you see that, yeah, different images with different subjects and different positions might have a different kind of aesthetic that you either like or don't like. I know I keep glancing off and looking over at my Teams area just to make sure that I'm catching any students that might pop in there. So, yeah, so that's not too bad. Let's try a little bit of a text overlay. So I'm going to head over here to my hero section, and I'm going to put in a heading 2. Is this a good example for a heading 2? It may not be. So I'm going to put in a paragraph, class equals hero text. Now I don't know what I want to write in there, so I'm just going to do a lorem, which is a ton of text. I don't need that much text. Lorem ipsum, and I'll just kind of delete most of it. Of course, we could just copy something that we see from the website. So what do they use on the official website? They don't use anything there. Let's go back to the home page. They use all in dot always, and then some little product promotion, and of course OSU Cascades. To make a difference, you'll need an edge. Actually, I kind of like that. I'm going to write that. Let me fix up my paragraph tags. To make a difference, comma, you'll need an edge. No period. Actually, period might look good. I'll do a period. Okay, so there's my hero text within my hero section. And I want to kind of style this to make it big and chunky and noticeable. So I'm going to go to my CSS, dot hero text. Did I do hero hyphen or hero underscore? Underscore. Perfect. Ooh. Color, FFF. I want it to be white. Font, family, until, could go get a Google font, but for now, can I do impact? How does impact look? Yes, I will do that one. Font size, let's go big. 3 M's, too big. 2 M's, decent. 2.5 M, pretty good. To make a difference, you'll need an edge. I want to break this onto 2 lines. I'm going to put a break tag right there. Make sure it splits into 2 lines. I like it. And let's do padding. I want 10 pixels top, 0 pixels right, 0 pixels bottom, 20 pixels left. All right, I think I can work with that. Now, the only problem is, even still, it's tough to see that white text on that background. So I am going to put in background color. I'll do a RGBA 20, 20, 20, 0.8, 0.7. Okay, not too bad. I don't know if I like that it stretches all the way across. My padding definitely needs some improvement. I'm going to change the padding to 20 pixels all around. So I'll just use 1 unit of measurement. And I don't want this to stretch all the way across. So what I will do for my hero text, do I want to float it left? I think I do. Now that seems okay there. If I want a little bit more control over this, instead of using float left, I could do something like this. I could go to my hero section and do position relative. And then I can go to my hero text and do position absolute. And I can say I want this to be 10 pixels from the top and 10 pixels from the left. And that'll kind of place it a little bit more strategically, more precisely, I should say. To make a difference, you'll need an edge. I want to increase the line or the letter spacing 0.25 M. Too much. 0.15 M. Better. 0.1 M. Perfect. I'm going to go a little bit bigger. What is my font size? 2.5 M. What about a 2.7? Good enough. To make a difference, you'll need an edge. And of course, you can adjust the positioning of this text depending on what image you happen to be using. Again, I would really prefer if this subject was a little bit more to the right. Is there a way that we can trick that out? There is. If I go to my hero graphic, hero section, and instead of background size cover, I can do a background size of 120%. And then background position, left. Yep, moves that character over a little bit more. But now maybe I should try left center. A little bit better. Subject is a little bit more to the right. I think that might be okay. Now this could be bad for other images, but that gets my subject a little further over. Hold on, let me, it's just a Teams chat from one of your classmates. Let me check out what that question was about. Okay, I'm back. Actually, it was a very, I think it was a pretty good question. That let's see, I'm going to share this with you. Let's see, am I doing my, let me get my screen capture utility. Why isn't my screen capture utility working? There it is. And I'm just going to open my image editor. There we go. I just wanted you to see that. Now, I don't think I can zoom in on this. But would you say web dev is easier to get into than cybersecurity? Yeah, I'm not really sure what this particular student's going for. But definitely web dev and cybersecurity, pretty different topics. Obviously, there can be some overlap in skills, but they are really different things. They're going to appeal to different kinds of interests and abilities, and there's going to be different job prospects. So So my response here is those topics are quite a bit different in skill set, work, and job prospects. Cybersecurity is such a hot area and will be going forward. More professional opportunities there. Web dev can be more creative. I wrote autistic, but I meant artistic, and programming, some front end programming for sure. So that would appeal to a different kind of person than probably wants to get into computer networking, admin, and cybersecurity. Or could be some overlap. AI will have a bigger impact probably on web development jobs than they will cybersecurity jobs over the next handful of years. Much of what we are doing in 195 and 197 and things like that can be done. It seems like every month AI gets better and better and better. And we're going to be able to ask questions and have AI help generate code for us and stuff like that. So in 195 for web development, we're getting a foundation of knowledge and ability, but who knows? I don't know what job prospects will be like for web development 5 years down the road. My gut feel is that it's going to be either flat or declining. I don't know. It's going to change for sure. Maybe it's a little pessimistic to say declining, because I have seen some statistics where web development does have growth. Cybersecurity has more growth potential for sure, based on looking at government data and job openings and things like that. So two different things, but it's kind of good to kind of keep an eye out for. There's quite a few different careers you can follow in the IT world, and that's part of what you go to school for. Is you sample different kinds of technology, different kinds of fields, and you see which one speaks to you. Which one do you seem to enjoy doing? It's always easier to be good at something you enjoy doing. We could all be good at computer networking and cybersecurity, but if you don't really dig it, you're not going to be as good as your competition. And you could be good at web development, but if you don't really dig it, you're not going to be as good as your competition. And the person that is good at it and likes to do it is more than likely to get the job over the person that, I'm good at it, but my passion's not showing through with it. So, but that's part of going to college, university. That's what university traditionally meant, is you experience the universe of different kinds of fields, and you picked what you wanted. Was it art? Was it medicine? Was it science? Was it literature? And then you kind of got this universal education. Community colleges and CTE programs, career technical education, that's a relatively new advent. Now we're trying to gear you towards skills that are more workplace ready, which is part of the role of the community college versus the university. Okay, good question. And my 11 a.m. student still not around. Okay, well, actually, I'm getting close to a good stopping point here for part one. We're getting those key sections, but I think what I'd like to do is show you how we can easily create our product section with different squares. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to head over to the HTML. I'm going to go to the products section, and I'm going to write it this way. I'm going to get 12 product cards, or maybe I'll do 9. We'll do a 3x3 grid layout. So I'm going to write div dot card. Actually, I'll say product underscore card times 9. There we go. Now I've got 9 divs. Each of them has class equals product card. Perfect. I'm going to head up to the CSS, and I guess I'll go right about here. And I'm going to write dot product card. So let's see where these things are. They're going to be down in this pink section. Border, 4 pixels, solid, purple. Can I see them? I can see them. There they are. Margin, 4 pixels. Perfect. There they are. Now I'm going to go to the products section. That's the parent. Okay, so remember my individual product cards, there's 9 of them. They have the products parent. So the parent is going to be display flex. This is going to make this a flex box parent. And there we go. So now they're all side by side instead of one on top of the other. Perfect. Okay, let's go to, what else do I want to do? Justify content. I'm going to do space evenly or space between. I'm going to do space evenly first. Okay, I know it looks funny. They're all there, they're all scrunched up. That's okay. I'm going to take a break from section products. I'm going to go down to the product cards. I'm going to write this, flex. I'm going to do 0, 0, 30%. There we go. Okay, now that's getting them a little bigger. Now they're still side by side and they keep stretching all the way across my screen there. I don't want that, so I'm going to go back up to the products here. I'm going to write this, flex flow row wrap. All right, there we go. Now they're in a nice little grouping. I'm pretty happy with this actually. I did space evenly. What if I did space around? Nah, I'm going to go back to space evenly. So this is called Flexbox. And it's a very useful, easy way to make an arrangement of blocks in rows that can wrap underneath each other and stuff like that. And I won't go into a ton of detail on some of these numbers, but since I did 30%, these are roughly, each box, each card is roughly 30% of my browser width. If my browser was narrower, they'd still be there, 30%. But you can see, oh, that doesn't look so good if they get too skinny. So something I can do here is, in addition to this, I can put a min width. And maybe I'll put in 300 pixels. Maybe. I don't know if that's going to look good or not. At 300 pixels, there's not enough room for them to be side by side. So maybe I'll change it out to 260 pixels. Great. Now they're side by side again. But if my page or if my web device gets narrower, they'll go to 2s. And if it's narrower, I can't go, oh, there we go. If we go narrower, it'll go to 1. But if I go wide, it's only going to be 3s because of that 30%. I will go over Flexbox more specifically, more carefully in a completely separate focused video. And we are definitely going to be doing some Flexbox stuff in Module 5 right before the midterm exam. That's already part of my plan, even though I don't have the stuff up there yet. I probably do by the time you're watching this video, though. Otherwise, we've got our cards there. Now, I want a little bit more space up at the top here. So check this out. Instead of doing margin for these product cards, I'll get rid of that margin. I can go up here to my products and I can write gap of like, I don't know, 20 pixels. How's that going to look? Yeah, not as good as I was hoping. You know what? But I'm going to leave it there. But what I can do for my products section, I can do padding top 20 pixels. And that'll put space right at the very top of that product section. And I also want to do padding bottom. So I'm going to rewrite this. Padding top, right, bottom, left. Top, right, bottom, left. Top, right, bottom, left. And now things are looking pretty balanced with those product cards, whatever they may mean for whatever kind of business we're creating. But otherwise, I'm feeling pretty darn good about the overall shell of this Ruffwear mimicked web page. Since my video is just under an hour here, I'm going to go ahead and turn this one off. And we're going to keep working on this. This would have been a 2-class event for sure. Let's keep working on this in a separate video where we can put in some more details on some of these individual components like the promo bar, the nav, and in several of these product cards. I want you to see some stuff in there, okay? And with that, I'll catch you in the next video.